Hi everyone, I hope everyone is doing good. So welcome to another video of the same chapter that we're discussing, that is reproduction in plants. So in the previous class, in the previous video, we discussed about the structure and detailed function of the anther. And we also talked about microsporogenesis and the development of the male gametophyte. Now in this video, we are going to discuss the topics similar manner, but with respect to the female part of the flower. So in these videos, we are going to study about the structure of the ovule in detail, and also we are going to see certain types of the ovule and why we are focusing only on the anatropous ovule. Then we will move on to study about what is megasporogenesis. In the similar manner, we discussed about the microsporogenesis, that is the formation of the pollen grains in the anther. Here we will discuss about how the eggs are formed in the ovule, and after discussing about megasporogenesis, we will understand how these megaspores develop into the matured female gametophyte, which will unite with the male gametophyte, and together they will bring about fertilization. So let's begin. We will begin with the ovule. What is an ovule? By defining what is an ovule, you might have studied or you might have come across this terminology in lower standard also. So this is how where the ovules are located. We also discussed this in the previous videos where we discussed the detailed part of the flower. So if you have not checked out the previous video, so please please refer to the previous video. Wherein you will see the detailed parts of the androecium and the gynoecium. So this part is your female reproductive part of the flower, which is known as the gynoecium. If you can pause and remember what are these parts, this is the style, this is the stigma, and this part is already labeled that what we're going to study now in detail is the ovary. So the ovary will consist all these eggs, small eggs, which are known as ovules. Okay, so this is an ovule. So there's a slight difference between the two words. Ovary is the organ into which the eggs are located. Just like female reproductive system, you might have studied in lower standard. So in female reproductive system, there are two pairs of ovary, and then this is the uterus, right? They are connected by the fallopian tube, and in the ovaries you have the eggs which are developed time and periodically, on monthly basis. Yes. So in the similar manner, this is the ovary part of the gynoecium, and in the ovary, the eggs, that is the ovules, will develop. Okay. So let's begin discussing the detailed part of the ovule. So this is how an ovule will look like. You will see all these labelings over here. So let's just read out the labelings first, and then we will move we will take one by one, and we will discuss the structure and the function of each parts in detail. Okay, so this part over here is known as the placenta. This part is known as the funicle. Uh, this outer integument, inner integument, just like you have a cell and there is an outer membrane and an inner membrane. So outer integument and inner integument. These are the synergids. Okay, what are they? What is their function? As and when we move forward, I will tell you when we are taking one by one. This is the egg over here. Okay. Basically, these are the cells. Out of these three cells, these two will act as something known as synergid cells, and this will be the egg cell. Okay, this is the nucleus of the whole ovule. Yes, and these are also another group of cells which are known as antipodals. Okay, these are all cell with the nucleus. This is just the nucleus of the whole ovule, and these cells have special places and special designation because they have specific functions. And this end is known as the chalaza end. Okay. This nucleus is also known as secondary nucleus. Why? We will see that. This whole structure is known as the embryo of the ovule. Okay, the embryo of the ovule, embryo sac of the ovule, where the fertilization will happen, and then it will develop into the zygote, and the embryo will be developed from here. Okay, this entry point, you can see this is acting like a gate. This entry point is known as micropylar end. What it is known as? micropylar end. Okay, so let's begin with the first labeling, that is the placenta. So what is a placenta over here? So this part is a placenta. I will just clear the labeling. So this part is the placenta. Each ovule will develop inside the ovary attached to it. So this placenta is acting as an attachment. It is acting as a support. What it is acting as? It is acting as a support, just like human embryo has a placenta attached to the mother's womb. Yes, to the mother's uterus, and this placenta is the organ which will supply nutrition. It's the connection, it's a joining part. It supplies nutrition from the mother to the baby. Similarly, this placenta is the connection point to the rest of the plant, and the ovule, it will serve as the middle connection point. So the nourishment and everything will be transferred from the placenta to the whole developing ovule. Okay, so each ovule develops inside the ovary. So where are the eggs developing? Inside the ovary. I just showed you the previous picture. So you have the ovary, and in that the ovules will develop. Okay, and the eggs, these ovules are attached by the attachment or by the support, which is known as placenta. Next, from placenta, now we come to this stalk-like structure or a stand-like structure. This is again helping in supporting. So small stalk will be there, which will join the placenta to the rest of the ovule. So this is the joining part, again connecting the placenta and the whole rest of the ovule. So small stalk joining the placenta and the ovary. What it is known as funiculus. Okay. Next part is the hilum. Hilum is over here in the diagram. It is not labeled over here, but this notch over here, this joining point is known as the hilum. The place of attachment of the funiculus with the main body of the ovule. So this is the main body of the ovule. This is the stalk, and this joining point you can see over here. This joining point is known as hilum or hilum. Yes. Next, we move on to the integuments. So what are these integuments? Just like I told you, any cell has an outer membrane and an inner membrane, just like you have the mitochondria. Mitochondria is a double membrane organelle. So you have the outer membrane and you have the inner membrane. In a similar manner, the inside part, okay, this whole embryo sac and the nucellus is covered, is protected by an outer layer, an outer membrane and an inner membrane. Outer integument, inner integument. So the nucellus surrounds two protective coverings. What is their nature? What is their function? They are acting as a protective covering. Okay, outer and inner integument. Clear? Okay. So the placenta, the funiculus, hilum, placenta is the place. It is an attachment point, okay, where all the ovules will develop inside the ovary. Funiculus is the stalk which will attach the placenta and the rest part of the ovary. Hilum is the joining point or the point of attachment where the remaining part of the main body of the ovule is there and the funicle is there. So this is the hilum. And then this whole circular part, which is the nucellus, is covered by, is layered by the outer and the inner membrane, or the outer and the inner integument, or layers which are protective in nature. So placenta, funiculus, hilum for attachment, and integuments for protection. Understood the structures and the function. So this is the structure and the functions we just discussed. Okay, make a note of all these things. If you have any doubt, make a note of that also. You can ask me later in the live class. Okay, moving to the next labeling, micropylar end. What is this micropylar end? This is the opening, or what you can say, an entry point. Okay, a narrow opening at the apex of the ovule. Now you will say that apex is on the top. Usually apex is at the top and this is the bottom, but no. This ovule is anatropous ovule, which is tilted downwards, okay, like this, like this. So uska apex, the micropylar end is at the apex. The ovule, imagine the ovule like this. This is the opening, okay. But this anatropous ovule is a bit tilted, like it is upside down. So that is why this is the apex part. Okay, this is the apex part and this is the bottom part of the ovule. You can see it tilted here. ऐसा इस तरीके से tilted है. So micropylar is nothing but the entry point or the opening point. यहाँ से the pollen will enter. Here you see no entry point, na? Here you see no entry point. There is no pore or no opening. No, nothing is there over here at the chalazal end. So the pollen grain, when it develops into a pollen tube, it will have an entry through this gate, and then it will break open and go and try to fertilize the egg. Clear? Then the chalaza. What is the chalaza? It is the base. It is the bottom. Okay, it is the base or it is the bottom of the ovule, which is opposite to the micropylar end. Yeah. Then inside you see this is the actual place where the eggs will develop, which is known as the embryo sac, or another word is also female gametophyte. Okay, it is oval in shape like this, not circular but a bit like an egg shape. Okay, oval in shape, and it is a multicellular structure. You can see multiple cells over here. It is not a single cell structure like this is the cell and this is the nucleus. No, you have multiple cells with multiple nucleus over here. This whole thing is embedded in this green color part. You can see over here. This is your nucellus. This is your nucellus. This whole part is the nucellus, and inside this oval shape is the embryo sac, which is the female part, the actual part where the fertilization will happen, and rest everything is protective or giving support or attachment to the entire ovule. Okay, so it is an oval multicellular structure embedded in the nucleus. Clear? So these are the main labelings that you need to know. Now we move on to the why we are discussing only about the anatropous ovule. So that was all about the structure of the ovule, structure and the function of the different parts of the ovule. Now why specifically only anatropous ovule? Because we are discussing the flowering plants, we will be discussing sexual reproduction and flowering plants. So most of the flowering plants, almost all the flowering plants are known as angiosperms. And in these flowering plants, in these angiosperms, the ovules are anatropous in nature. So anatropous ovules are very common in these flowering plants. What we are studying is the sexual reproduction in angiosperms, the flowering plants. So unme ovule usually it is of the commonly it is of the anatropous type. Anatropous means tilted downwards. Let's have a look on the different types of ovules that are there in the nature. So you can see, have a look over here, atropous. So if the micropylar end is at the top, so your micropylar end, and this is a chalaza. This is known as atropous. See, this is what we have just discussed, anatropous ovule. Yes, this type of ovule is very common in angiosperm. Then you have something tilted on the sideways. This is known as amphitropous ovule. Then horizontally, if it is tilted, here the micropylar end and this is the chalaza end. This is known as hemianatropous. Anatropous is completely tilted, but this is on the horizontal plane. Then something like this, campylotropous ovule. Then completely inward, tilted inside. This is Cercinotropous ovule. Okay, we are interested only in the anatropous one. Okay, we are going to focus only in the anatropous one. We have just now discussed the structure and function of all the different parts of this anatropous ovule. You need to know this. Very commonly asked question in exam that draw and explain the structure, label the structure, explain it for 3 marks approximately with the diagram, or only explanation, then with the only explanation 2 marks, or only diagram 2 marks. With diagram and explanation it can come for 3 marks. Okay, so these are the types of ovules, and we studied only the anatropous ovule. So that's all for this video. In the next video, we will talk about megasporogenesis. Okay, thank you all of you. we will discuss megasporogenesis in the next video. Take care. Bye.